Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Welcome to today's reading from Brilliant as the Sun, a retelling of Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4. We are going to be reading from chapter 24. The Prachetas meet Lord Shiva. We will try to conclude this chapter today. Mukam karoti vachalam pangum langhayate girim yat kripatamam vande Shri Gurum Dinatarinam Paramananda Madhavam Shri Chaitanya Ishwaram Hari Om Tat Sat. Verses 41 to 42. Lord, you inspire people to act piously and impiously, and you award them their respective results. By your grace, pious karmis attain the heavenly Pitrilok, while the demoniac are cast into repeated birth and death in this world. I therefore offer you my obeisance, my respect to you, the source of all benedictions. Everything is meant for your pleasure. You are the master of all mysticism, the original cause of all causes, and the personification of religion. Your knowledge is supreme, infinite, and without obstruction. Verse 43. As Rudra, you are the lord of false ego. You control the conditioned souls who work for profit. You also control the work itself and the results of that work, as well as the body, mind, and senses. You are the source of Vedic knowledge and the activities it prescribes. Please therefore endow me with perfect knowledge, so my mind, senses, and words will all turn toward your devotional service. Shiva gazed at the Prachetas with his 3 reddish eyes. Tell me what you have understood so far. The brothers conferred, and then the eldest said, Lord, you are teaching us how to pray to Vishnu so that we may be purified of ignorance. The origin of sound is Krishna. Through the sound vibration of the holy Vedas and his holy names, the Lord facilitates purification of our body, mind, and words, turning them exclusively toward devotional activities. Shiva smiled broadly. Yes, now I will teach you how to pray so that you can see the Lord. Listen carefully. Verse 44. Dear Lord, please mercifully reveal that form which is adored and worshipped by your dear devotees. I am not interested in your universal form, nor in your feature as the impersonal, all-pervasive Brahman, nor in your form as the Supersoul. I wish to see you in your complete perfection, your beautiful form, the source of all pleasurable relationships, which is especially liked by your devotees. Only that supreme personal form of yours can perfectly satisfy the senses so that they lose all attraction to material enjoyment. The brothers moved closer. Their hearts hankered to see Lord Vishnu. The eldest prince said, O great one, please tell us more about the Lord's beauty. Verses 45 to 49. Shiva closed his eyes. His complexion resembles a dark monsoon cloud and glistens like rainfall. He has 4 long, graceful arms and is the embodiment of beauty. His charming face is decorated with eyes shaped like lotus petals, an elegant raised nose, an enchanting smile, a noble forehead and ears adorned with sparkling gems. His merciful smile and loving glance accentuate his beauty. Vishnu's yellow garments wave in the breeze, appearing like saffron pollen from lotus flowers. He wears glittering earrings, a dazzling helmet, bangles, garland, belt, ankle bells, and other jeweled ornaments. His 4 hands hold a conch shell, disc, club, and lotus flower. The kaustubh pearl adorns his chest, and gleaming epaulets his leonine shoulders. His chest is adorned with the Srivatsaline, the insignia of goddess Lakshmi. The beauty of his chest excels that of black siliceous stone streaked with golden lines. Verses 50 to 51. Tears stream from Shiva's closed eyes. His abdomen resembles a banyan leaf marked with 3 ripples that move delightfully when he breathes, appearing as if the universe which sprouted from his deeply coiled navel is about to re-enter it. His attractive blackish hips are covered with yellow silken cloth tied by a belt embellished with golden filigree. His well-built frame and perfectly formed lotus feet, calves, thighs and knees are extraordinarily gorgeous. Verses 52 to 53, Shiva slowly opened his eyes. Dear princess, pray in this way, my dear Lord Krishna. Your feet appear like two petals of a blossoming lotus growing during the autumn season. The effulgence from your toenails dissipates the darkness in the heart of conditioned souls who seek your shelter. My Lord, kindly show me your form which dispels all doubts and fears from your devotee's heart. You are the supreme spiritual master who can enlighten deluded souls struggling in the darkness of the ignorance. Those wishing to purify their existence should meditate on your lotus feet. Anyone desiring to attain fearlessness must practice bhakti yoga while adhering to their varnashram duty. So, bhakti yoga is recommended for attaining fearlessness while following the duties of your varnashram dharma. Verses 54 to 55, Dear Lord, even the King of Heaven desires your devotional service. You are difficult to reach for those engaged in karma yoga, jnana yoga or mystic meditation, but those who practice bhakti attain you easily. My Lord, there are many transcendentalists who aspire to surpass the material energy. Some cultivate Vedic knowledge, others practice the physical discipline of Ashtanga yoga. But only those rare souls who take shelter of your lotus feet can satisfy you. No wise person serious to achieve this life's perfection would take to any process other than the bhakti yoga. Verse 56, You expand as invincible time, which is so powerful that merely by raising your eyebrows you annihilate the material world. Nothing can elude time's influence. It destroys the materialist's success and the Jnani yogi's realization of impersonal Brahman. Yet time does not touch a devotee who has taken complete shelter of you. One of the brothers said, My Lord, this may be true of a devotee who has attained Krishna. What though of one who is not yet fully surrendered? Does time destroy his efforts? Shiva smiled. An excellent question. A devotee's achievement is never destroyed by time. Even if he has not reached the perfection, in his next life he begins from where he left off. Such an opportunity is not given to the materialists or jnanis. Their attainments are lost at the time of death. The achievement of one who takes to the process of bhakti, however, is never destroyed, even if incomplete. The brothers looked at each other. Plainly, they need only perform bhakti, but how? Whose help should they seek? Verses 57 to 58. Shiva understood their minds. He said, Even by chance one briefly associates with Krishna's pure devotees, he loses all attraction for material success or impersonal liberation. You need not seek the blessing of any god. They will also die one day, so their benedictions are of no value. Simply pray to Krishna as follows. Dear Lord, the Ganges water is celebrated as being able to extirpate all kinds of sinful reactions of those who bathed in her. Similarly, the association of pure souls always absorbed in hearing and chanting about you can free us of material contamination. It is our such devotees who are compassionate and completely purified and believe the blessings of Bhakti Devi, the goddess of devotion. You will see then everything in relation to Krishna and perceive him in his name, form, qualities and pastimes. Then you will never again fall into illusion, which is like a dark well. The boys thanked Shiva for his clear instructions and asked him to continue instructing them. Verse 61, Shiva said, You should pray like this, My dear Lord Krishna, you are Brahmin, supreme, all-pervading spiritual energy in which the entire cosmos rests. So Krishna is Brahma, the supreme, all-pervading spiritual energy. As Shiva is saying here, you have numerous energies which act variously and by which you create the cosmic manifestation. Although the cosmos seems permanent, you will annihilate it in due course. Your illusory energy, Maya, deludes the conditioned souls to think that the universe is separate from you. Therefore, they are disturbed by the material world's constant changes. You, though, are independent and never influenced by Maya. We desire to realize you in your original form as Krishna. Verse 62, since the universe is a manifestation of your energies, it is also accepted as your form. Everything within the universe is you. The five elements, the senses, mind, intelligence, false ego, and your partial expansion as a super soul who supervises everything, as well as the bhaktas who worship your personal form. Even karma and jnana yogis worship your Vishnu form pervading the universe and all beings. This is confirmed throughout the Vedas, which recommend that you alone should be worshipped. Verse 63, you are the Supreme Person, the cause of all causes. Before the material creation, your material energy is dormant. As Mahavishnu, you activate it by your glance. At that time, the three modes of nature are set into motion, bringing into existence the Mahatattva, the totality of material energy. This Mahatattva systematically differentiates into false egotism, ether, air, fire, earth, and water. So Mahavishnu activates the dormant material energy with the glance, and the three modes are set into motion, and then they bring into the existence the Mahatattva, the totality of material energy. And Mahatattva differentiates into false egotism, ether, air, fire, earth, and water. Then the living entities are impregnated into the cosmos, and they emerge first as Lord Brahma, then the seven great sages, then as the other principal gods. From the gods come humans, animals, trees, beasts, and everything else. The princes were mesmerized as Shiva sang his prayer in a mellifluous tones. They marveled at its perfect composition and depth of meaning. Verse 64, Shiva went on, Lord, after creating this world, you enter the hearts of all creatures as a super soul. You also enter the living entities themselves, who are your separated parts. The tiny souls enter bodies created either from an embryo, egg, seed, or within sweat. Regardless of what type of body they occupy, they are always busily pursuing sense enjoyment. As the all-knowing super soul, you direct everyone to fulfill their desires. Although you remain aloof from such so-called happiness, unfortunately, the enjoyment of living entities in the material world is exactly like the bee's enjoyment of honey in the honeycomb. The two princes raised their hands. Shiva tilted his head back slightly. You have some question? One of the princes asked. Lord, what kind of living entity is born in sweat? There are many forms of fungi and bacteria that multiply in perspiration. Then he turned to the brother. What is your conclusion, my dear boy? Lord, kindly explain the metaphor, bees enjoying honey. Shiva said, when bees try to enjoy the honeycomb, they bite each other, thereby suffering. Lord, kindly explain the metaphors of bees enjoying honey. Shiva said, when bees try to enjoy the honeycomb, they bite each other, thereby suffering. as they try to find pleasure. Human society is similar. Mankind is engaged in collecting various resources to enjoy. However, everyone is in competition with each other in their rivalry for resource. Sometimes nations declare war on each other, or one person harms another. Thus, like bees, humans inflict misery on each other in their pursuit of pleasure. Do you understand? The Prachetas respectfully bowed their heads. Yes, Lord. Verses 65 to 66. Shiva said, So you should pray in this way, O Lord Krishna. Although you cannot be seen, your absolute authority is experienced in your own hometown. Experience in your form as time, which destroys everything. By the force of time, one living being kills another. Time scatters all things exactly as the winds disperses cloud. Due to uncontrollable greed, all people in this world frantically busy themselves with plans to enjoy. As vigilant death, you seize those who neglect your supreme authority, just as snake snatches and swallows a mouse. Verse 67. After many births of struggling to enjoy or whimsically pursuing self-realization, a person eventually becomes wise and recognizes that unless he worships you, his life will be wasted. Such a person serves you in all situations, always hearing about you and glorifying you. Shiva raised a hand toward the heavens. Even Lord Brahma, my father and spiritual master, and also the 14 Manus, who all have tremendously long lives, fear death. Consequently, they worship Lord Krishna. How much more imperative it is for you humans to worship Krishna, as you only have very short lifespan. My dear Lord Krishna, you are the all-pervading Brahman and also the super soul. Wise people who want freedom from fear take shelter of you alone. In my form as Rudra, I destroy universe. Everyone fears that form. However, one who always worship you, Lord, need never fear any form, any my Rudra form, or you always protect such a learned devotee. Verses 69 to 71. My dear princess, pray for Krishna as I have just taught you, and simultaneously offer the results of your work to him. By so doing, you will very much please him and you will experience all good fortune. Krishna is in your hands. By so doing, you will be very much pleased and you will experience very good fortune. Krishna is in your hearts. Indeed, he is in everyone's heart. He is famous as Hari, one who takes away all misery. Therefore, recite his glories and meditate on him constantly. O princess, commit to the memory of this hymn, which is the Lord, is the yoga. Sorry, I've lost here. Which is, O princess, commit to the memory of this hymn, which is the yoga of chanting Krishna's holy names and glories. By repeating it with attention and reverence, never speaking of anything else, you will become great sages. Verses 72-74. I heard this prayer from Lord Brahma, the master creator, who taught it to me, and the other progenitors headed by Bhrigu, ordered by Brahma to procreate. We chanted this hymn in praise of Krishna and became free of all ignorance. Thus we are able to produce all types of living beings. Krishna is the goal of life. Anyone who with full absorbs we chanted this hymn in praise of Krishna and become free of all ignorance. Thus we are able to produce all types of living beings. Krishna is the goal of life. Anyone who lives with these fabulous stories absorbs Krishna is the goal of life. Anyone who with faith absorbs his mind in Krishna by chanting his hymn with great attention and reverence will undoubtedly attain the greatest imperfection of life. Shiva passed and looked at from one brother to another. Verses 75 to 76. My dear princess, to understand the this is the last chapters, almost last paragraphs of this chapter. My dear princess, to understand the transcendental knowledge I have taught in this prayer is the greatest achievement in the material world. This knowledge is capable of carrying one across the otherwise impassable ocean of nations. It is very difficult to re-establish one's eternal relationship with Krishna. However, one who hears and recites the hymn I have just taught you will very easily evoke Krishna's mercy. Now the final verses of this chapter, 77 to 79. There is no higher benediction than Krishna's loving service. Any human being who recites this prayer will please Krishna and receive any benedictions he desires. A faithful devotee should rise early every morning and recite this prayer and also tell it to others. By so doing, you will become free from karmic bondage. O princesses, this hymn is meant for pleasing Krishna, the super soul in the heart. Its recitation is as effective as performing great austerity. I advise you to recite it constantly. In time, you will surely achieve your goals and your lives will be successful. With this, we conclude chapter 24. The Prachetas meet Lord Shiva. Next time we'll be reading from chapter 25, King Puranjan. Thank you for joining. Hare Tat Sat. Hare Krishna.